Yeah. I said, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, we back at it again. And we finna have fun. Cause we trying to keep it light. Talking all about what Diddy done. What it look like. Ayy. What it look like. What it look like. Yeah. What it look like. Welcome to the third pod. I'm your host, DAPHYA. And we about to get into some topics that's a little more serious. Yes. But we still gonna try to keep it light. We gonna attempt to keep it light. Cause last week I mentioned that I had that itch. Cause I've been keeping up. And I've been following that Diddy trial. But I should probably, like I said, I'm DAPHYA. This is the third pod. If you've never been here before, please do make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment as you go along listening to the video, and I will get back to you in the comments. So last week's episode, I tried to keep it really serious. It was important to me to honor Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but we back with the bullshit. We back with the I might have to, if I bleep that, it's only because I want to get a little bit of money. If I bleep that, I'm learning. I don't really know all the ins and outs of YouTube yet, but I try to pay attention. I will attempt to use words like grape and PDF file and whatnot. Why my AC want to kick in now? Anyways, but I do want to touch on some of the stuff. And this episode, like most episodes, to be perfectly honest, no script. I don't have notes. I'm freestyling, and I'm just talking based on all the things that I have seen keeping up with the Diddy trial, which at this point, we're like on week 4 of the Diddy trial. I have seen Cassie, well, not seen, because actually the trial is not allowed to be filmed, and not even audio is allowed to be taken because it is a federal case. But they do have the transcripts, which a lot of YouTubers have access to and read, and I've been listening to those. I've also been following people who live tweet, and they do live streams of the live tweets, and they do research as the trial's going on in real time. So that's been super dope. I think her name is BJ. I forgot what her other account is called, but her name is BJ that I follow the most. And Armand Wiggins, it's another one that I've been following. Those are really the main two. And probably the first one that I started, I kind of fell off because he's actually on a trip so he hasn't been following it as close, but he's going to be back soon. And that's Murad. That's another one. I will link them. God, I hope I remember to link them in the description. But yeah, Cassie has obviously hit the stand. She was one of the first witnesses. We had male sex workers or ex-workers. I don't know what words I'm allowed to say, to be honest. I'm gonna try. I heard you can't curse until like 30 minutes now into the video. But anyway, if it happens, it happens. We had Kid Cudi hit the stand. We had there's a Jane Doe. There's a couple people who have hit the stand anonymously, but this current witness, as we speak, that's been on this week, and she was actually, I think she came on from Friday last week too. Like, she been on the stand a minute. As far as I can tell, this is the longest one witness has been on the stand. Like, she's been on way longer than even Cassie or Cudi, and she's going by Jane Doe. She has a pseudonym. They don't want to release her identity. It's so obvious. I'm not going to say it because I heard that, like, they're not allowing, like, YouTubers to dox the person. But what I will say is that 50 Cent is giving a lot of clues as to who he thinks it might be. And if you know anything about hip hop and you keep up with these artists because you're fans of them, so you happen to see, you know, certain tabloid type stuff, or you follow celebrity news, you know that Diddy did date one of 50 Cent's baby mamas that I will not name, even though I could name that. That's just a fact. There was a photo of Diddy with her at a pool, and out of fear of being bum rushed by ICE for a Diddy trial, I will not. I know none of that makes sense, but so much is going on in the world. I will not say her name, but it's, to me, it's obvious. There have been, like I told you, I've been watching these. Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to give a shout out to Tisa Tells too. I've been watching Tisa Tells. I like her. She's a lot, but she's very good, very thorough, and just very high energy. That's why I said a lot. Like, she's just very energetic, and stunning. She's so pretty. Anyway, besides the point. But she's been showing out at that courthouse every single day. But I feel like it's so obvious, and a lot of these people who have been doing real-time updates, they're going on live. They're doing live streams, and they're slipping up and saying the name. Now, I heard that I don't know who the YouTuber is. I think it might have been Academics, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. There is a YouTuber that, like, said the name and went hard with it, and, like, was intentionally trying to dox and expose the witness, which to me is messed up, for the simple fact that if you come on the trial and you want a pseudonym, you don't want to be exposed, you know, like, I feel like there's a reason behind it. However, I feel like in this specific case, the person that you need to be the most afraid of is literally right there sitting and staring at you in the courthouse. Like, if I could remain anonymous from Diddy, because this man is scary. If you've been keeping up with the trial, this man is horrific. Horrific. His own defense did their opening statement, and they were like, look, guys, we know that he's violent. We know that he has a temper. We know that he treats people badly, but he didn't do the crimes that you're saying, and we're going to prove it. Watch. And then, of course, the prosecutors, like, okay, but look at this, 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 look at this. And he did it. He did it. Like, if you watch, shout out Abba and Preach too, because they typically don't follow stuff like this. And Abba did a whole breakdown on the first, I think it was like the first couple weeks, I think the first 2 weeks of the trial. And just within that first 2 weeks, he listed every single thing associated with RICO that the prosecutors have already proven, like, undeniably. So there's no question as to whether Diddy is going away or not. It's just a matter of how long. So as far as I'm concerned, Jane Doe, being a Jane Doe, seems unnecessary to me. They're also now just starting to not want to mention certain names, because they had no problem mentioning Young Miami's name, who they do refer to as Carisha. They obviously, Cassie and Cuddy were there. They also mentioned people who, like, had been attending certain events. I believe Usher was named. Not to incriminate them or anything like that, but the names were just mentioned. And for some reason, Jane Doe mentioned a certain Vegas party, a sex party, a X party. That has to be a better word, because X, then I think like ecstasy. But so there was a more than rated R party. That's terrible. Anyway, there was a party, right? There was a party, and they were doing certain sexual acts. I think sexual is better than sex, right? You know what, YouTube, whatever. I'm probably not gonna get enough views to get money regardless. It doesn't matter. Listen. And she mentioned specifically that this couple was there basically running the party, and they refused to name the rapper, but they said it was a rapper. So already, like, I'm like, it's Jay-Z. It gotta be Jay-Z. I bet it's Jay-Z. But that's because I have like a little thing with Jay-Z already. So I really like don't put that. I'm not putting that on him. Don't put that on me. That's just like my opinion that I have alone when nobody's watching, that I'm expressing to the internet where anybody can see it. Because it's true. That's what I thought. But I'm admitting that I'm basing this on absolutely nothing. So I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna get Jay-Z. And then I heard, and because it was a couple too, let me just mention that too. They said a rapper and his wife. So we're limiting the pool. The pool's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I'm like, Jay-Z and Beyonce, obviously. But there are talks that it is Kanye and his wife, Bianca. I even forget her name because she's so like, she's basically presents herself like his slave, which makes perfect sense in this context of these types of events and parties, and considering all the things that Diddy did to these women, it would not shock me that Ye is doing that to women as well. That's why Ye is going so hard to defend him, to the point where he's recording phone calls and putting him on his album, tweeting free Diddy. It makes sense. He even called them twins. He said Diddy is his twin. There are reasons for this. Now, since Diddy got locked up, Kanye lost his shit more than ever. I don't care that I curse. That's it. We off that. We don't care about YouTube no more. I'm over it, because now you got me in my bag. Now you got me in my bag. I'm gonna tell you what I know, okay? So since Diddy got locked up, y'all ain't noticed Ye been a little extra? Am I the only one that feels that way? Like, he has these moments, and it's typically around the time when he releases music. I'm aware of that. I've felt that, like, conspiracy, I guess, like a musical entertainment conspiracy to that. And then I've also talked on a recent episode where I said I'm over Kanye. I'm boycott, which I stuck to that. Like, I don't follow him. I didn't stream any of his new albums. He dropped like 2 new albums in the last like 6 months. And the last one was called Cuck, which, if you're paying attention and you know a little something about stuff, don't ask me how I know. I'm not into cooking. I'm not into the cook life. But that is what Diddy essentially likes to do. He calls it voyeurism. I think what he's doing is a little different than voyeurism, because I actually consider myself a little bit of a voyeur. I like to look at stuff sometimes, but whatever. He sits there, he directs what's going on, and beyond whatever the woman wants, the women in these situations don't matter. And that's the sad part, because all these women are in love with him. They are absolutely enamored, because they are being manipulated, they are being coerced, they are being, in some cases, abused, because it took a while for Jane Doe to get to a part where Diddy put hands on her. But she was being manipulated and abused emotionally and in so many other ways before that. But since this has come out, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Kanye was also, into these sorts of activities. And then he dropped the album called Cuck, which, that's kind of self-explanatory. Then he did, I think it's off the same album actually, we know about him pleasuring his cousin as a child until, I believe, the age of 14 it was, or something. And he literally tweeted like that he's homosexual, which I don't think so. I don't think Ye is homosexual. I'm gonna get to the whole, like, everybody makes all these jokes about Diddy being gay, and I'm like, I don't think it's that. I genuinely don't think it's that. So I'm gonna be that opposing. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion. I already know, but I don't think necessarily I can't say obviously for certain, but I don't think these men are gay. They absolutely hate women. They absolutely despise women. They don't give a damn about women. And in my last episode, I mentioned Ye and Diddy and the relationships that they have with their mother and how I feel that may have contributed to the disdain that they feel towards women. But there's no way to prove that. That's theory. That's opinion. It is what it is. But I have noticed that Ye has been turning up a whole lot more. And now that they have named him as the possible rapper in this scenario, just then it hit me. Maybe he was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna say whatever I want. After he apologized for his anti-Semitic rants in the past, and he apologized. Well, did he apologize for saying black people chose slavery or whatever he said that Van Lathan got that off on him? I don't know if he apologized for that one, actually, which is kind of crazy because I know he definitely did apologize for the anti-Semitism, but that makes sense because based on his own opinion, it would be for his business. But whatever. So he goes back and he's like, nah, you know what? I take it back. Then he makes clothing with swastikas. He's running around with an iced out swastika chain. Relentless, remorseless, and just distasteful, nasty, disrespectful. Any negative word you could think of, Kanye is that. Openly and publicly. I'm not gonna lie. I think I prefer that as to somebody like Diddy, who called himself Love, Brother Love, tried to do all this charity stuff, vote or die. Now I look at that a little bit different too. It probably really was vote or die, you know what I'm saying? But I prefer the upfront asshole versus the evil mastermind behind the scenes that was like a super villainous mafioso boss, to the point where Kid Cudi's on the stand and he's like, I was on the phone with Diddy and he's like, I'm in your house. What? So Diddy Cudi was like, I'm on my way, which to me was very courageous. And people out here talking about, oh, he snitched this. You're bugging. He was brave and he called the authorities when he had to call the authorities. Snitching is when you doing dirt with somebody and you turn your back on them like you ain't did shit. And you leave them to take all the repercussions and all the consequences of what you both did together. That's what snitching is. People get it together. Because y'all just be thinking tattletelling is snitching. No, maybe he tattletelled because he told the cops. That's not snitching. And tattletelling doesn't exist after the age of 6 or 7. Like, that's not even a thing, bro. Once you turn 7 or 8, you're communicating. And you're communicating your needs for your best interests. Fuck out of here. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Not even a little bit. Not a little bit. Not a little bit. And this is something that I recently because I was brought up in this hood culture where it's like no snitching, you know, snitches get stitches and all that. I'm from that cloth. And then I had to grow up. You feel me? I had to grow up. But I do feel like I agree. I feel like it is Kanye. I feel like him and his wife don't stray far from this as far as optics go. Anyway, do I think it is a bigger network is the question. That I'm not sure of. Because Kanye said that they're trying to pin everything on Diddy, like he's a small fry in the operation type shit. He's probably the same level as Diddy in whatever they're doing. So if there are bigger people out there, I would hope that they do get, you know, exposed or reprimanded, and they get all the consequences they deserve. But as of right now, like I said, they're refusing to say the name of that rapper. I do believe also that could be intentional as well, because they are building a case towards Kanye. So, I mean, At this point, I don't think Kanye cares about anything. I don't think Kanye cares about life. I don't think Kanye cares about his kids. I don't think Kanye cares. Period. Just in general. I usually have predictions, and I don't have that for Kanye. Like, he's so self-harming, and he's so, what's the word? Self-sabotaging. Like, everything bad that I could think of aside from his mother passing away or his car accident, before he even blew up, was his fault. Like, he did it. I can't think of a time somebody really, really genuinely just did him dirty, and it was like, oh man, how could they do that to Ye? You know what I'm saying? It was always Ye doing it to Ye. Even like if they did do something to him, he retaliated in a way that made it 20 times worse, and still ended up being the bad guy in the situation. Didn't garner any sort of sympathy from it. But only time will tell. All I know is that this Diddy trial is crazy. He's definitely already got some of those like check boxes checked off as far as what the prosecutors need, to prove their case. And it was tough. It was tough watching this case, especially during Cassie being on the stand, because there were so many nasty things and so many ignorant comments were being shared openly, not just online. I had a man to my face in real life. This is not YouTube. This is not Instagram. This is not Snapchat. To my face. Tell me, you know what? I don't even feel bad for her. How you gonna say that to a woman? How you gonna say that to a woman you don't even know the woman's story? I don't know this man like that. This man just lives in my building. I was like, you bugging. He said, huh? I said, you bugging. Let me repeat that a slightly higher decibel. And then because this man lives in my building, I was like, right there, split second, chill the fuck out. You don't need to do this right now. DAPHYA, calm it down. Calm it down. So I walked away as I repeated that last part. You're bugging. That's it. You're bugging. I'm not here for it. But just to know that people think like that at all was so upsetting. It was so triggering in the nuanced way of the case. Like I'm so like empathetic, because none of this really is connected to my real life, but people are going through these things. And Cassie, I kept saying like, yo, her movie, her book, because she is writing a book. Let me tell you that's another thing that she mentioned. She told him she was writing a book, and that's how that whole settlement started off, getting squared up real quick in less than 24 hours. But what he didn't do was make sure that in the settlement it mentioned that she cannot move forward with her book. So that book is still coming out, and it is going to be a bestseller, and I can't wait to see the movie. I don't know who's going to play Cassie, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's going to be a tough watch. It's going to be a really tough watch, because if you heard the things that she mentioned on the stand, literally every witness after her. No, there was I believe 2 witnesses before her, one being the prostitute and the other one I can't recall. But every witness that went up on that stand right before Jane Doe, because Jane Doe doesn't know Cassie, so she didn't have any Cassie stories. She had her own stories that she was telling. But every single person on that stand, aside from Jane Doe and aside from the psychologist, because the psychologist was just there to shed awareness on the damages of emotional abuse and how you get, looped into this cult-like stuff. But every single one had their own unique story of them witnessing Cassie getting her ass beat by Diddy and nobody stopping it, and her not fighting back. Just Literally, she was his punching bag on a regular, consistent basis. Somebody saw her getting beat on a jet while they're flying through the air. Saw her getting beat in the kitchen. He hit her with a frying pan full of eggs. Like, somebody saw her getting beat, somewhere else. Like, they all had their own story. It wasn't like they were all in the same place and they all saw that one time where he slapped her. That's not what it was. So, like, that's why I was like, this book is gonna be a tough read. The movie would be a tough watch, and it's just, she deserves every penny that she got. People are like, there's was some video, like, TikTok reel going viral. Some bitch was outside the actual courthouse talking about, oh, give me 10 mil. You could smack me around. I forgot what she said. But basically she said, like, she would take all Cassie's abuse for the money, which is crazy. Because if you really had the options, I don't think anybody would, in their right mind. This lady was clearly, she seemed a little crackheady. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, you say some shit like that, I'm thinking you do drugs. You like drugs. You do drugs for fun. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Because that's wild. Not only did he beat her though, like, I've said this multiple times on this podcast, but did I mention it was episode 92? Sorry, random. I might have ADHD. But yes. Not only did he beat her multiple times, when she was doing the freak offs, that was for him. That's his thing. That's what he likes. That's why he has multiple bitches doing the freak offs with him. It's him. It's undoubtedly him. But okay, she's doing these for him, and then on top of that, I feel like they could have done a little bit better at pointing out the fact that he was having her make certain calls so that everything is traced to her. Like, to me, it was so obvious. It was so, like, textbook, what do you call it when they set you up? I'm being framed. He was framing her. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. To me, it was like textbook, like, murder mystery framing somebody. The way she was like, yeah, he had me call this person to do the things just so that it doesn't lead back to him. But then he fucked up and he was paying for stuff with the company card and Sean Combs Enterprise or whatever, Diddy Enterprise, whatever it's called. Just rico, you feel me? But anyway, not only was she getting physically abused, emotionally abused, mentally abused, but then she's doing these freak offs. She's catching UTIs and STDs. And while she's still engulfed in the illness, he's still pushing her to do the freak offs, which, let me mind you, these are sexual encounters that last days. I'm about to overshare, but I'm not doing more than, trying to think of my longest session. I'm not doing more than 3 hours of sex. That's my cutoff. 3 hours it's over. Days, 48, 72 hours of crazy. And you got a UTI, and you got I don't know, some sort. I don't know if she named the STD, but let's say syphilis. You got a UTI, you got syphilis, and then he's beating your ass in the middle of the freak off, and then pushing you back out like, let's go finish this. What, bro? But nah, I don't feel bad for her. I don't feel bad. I wanted to punch that nigga in his face so bad. You don't even know. You don't even know. You don't. But I didn't. I walked away like a mature adult, pacifist, non-aggressive, non-violent Puerto Rican woman. Very rare. Very rare. But I did. And, yeah, it was really bad. Like, Cassie's description was by far, to me, the worst description that I've seen or heard of yet from any witnesses on the stand. Now, even though Jane Doe has a very similar experience, Jane Doe, to me, is also messing up the prosecutors. And I think she's supposed to be their witness, but I think she's messing up their case a little bit just by the emphasis on the money. I think they're going to paint Jane Doe as just what 50 Cent would say, a dirty little sex worker. Mind you, he said this. I'm not giving that away. He said this when Diddy first got raided and stuff. So this was like over a year ago, where 50 Cent was calling his baby mother a dirty little sex worker. And that's what Jane Doe is coming across off as, like, even though she is also being abused. He did get physical with her. She was absolutely manipulated, but she was also very seduced by the money. He pays her rent. So her main defense for staying around is, he hangs my rent over my head. It's my rent, my rent, my rent. And I understand that when you're used to a certain lifestyle, you want to maintain that lifestyle. But I also can't understand having a child doing this, knowing that your child's father is a very wealthy rapper who doesn't get along with Diddy. This is all stuff they said in the case. I'm not spilling no beans. This is what they said. Does it sound like somebody? Knowing this and admitting that this rapper, father of your child, pays child support. If it is 50 is looking good right now. And I don't think 50's squeaky clean. Let me just tell you that right now. I don't. But he's looking good right now. And it would make sense if he were the baby's father, for the simple fact that he's been on Diddy's ass. He started his whole Diddy Do It documentary immediately as soon as the raids happened on Diddy's home, before Diddy even got locked up. He was like, oh, we about to make a movie. You know, 50 Cent gonna make $1 out of anything. 50 Cent gonna make $1 out of anything. And it would make sense. But I can't confirm nor deny that. I don't know. But it makes sense. It makes sense to me. So that's why I feel like Jane Doe's case is way different than Cassie's. Cassie actually tried to escape. We have video footage of her trying to escape, and we saw how that ended. We saw what happened. And then those times where she was away, he would have people blowing up her phone, harassing her. He tried to extort her mother at one point. He said, I will release sex tapes of your daughter, which he made her do. But obviously he don't lose nothing, and he's hanging that over her head too. Like, I'm not in the video. I'm holding camera. I'm just a cameraman. To the point where her mother took a second mortgage, or a mortgage on her home, for $20,000 to give it to Diddy because he demanded that money back that he invested in Cassie's career. And that shit, that in the movie, I'm gonna cry in that part. I'm gonna cry because I know my mama would do some shit like that for me. My mama loved me, and I love my mama. And that shit, woo, that shit hit me when that was one of the best people on the stand too, because Cassie's mother was on the stand as well. And he only asked for that money. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. He don't need $20,000. He only asked for that money because he thought that she didn't have it. And then he let her go to the extent of all the paperwork going to the bank, all that, of putting the mortgage on the house, the second mortgage, whatever you call it, just to get that money. And then he didn't take the money because he doesn't need it. But he had the damage was done. He's a really, really, really evil man. Like, this is some super... Oh, and Kid Cudi, not to circle back and hop around the story, but that was one of the things Kid Cudi did say too, that, remember, he was like, oh, I'm on the way to the crib, and I thought that was honorable, that he was willing to face Diddy. he said that when he finally got there, like Diddy was like looking out a window, like on some movie mafioso evil villain type shit, and then turning around in slow motion, like, "Oh, you're finally here," type shit. Like, what? What? Diddy's off his rocker, bro. Everything Diddy's doing is intentional, and I think even to the court, he has been allegedly like making facial, like, just emoting as the witnesses are speaking, but emoting directly to the jury with facial expressions. You know, when he agrees, when he disagrees, whatever, like that, to the point where the judge was like, cut that shit out. Cut that shit out or you're not going to sit here. So he toned that down. But apparently there is juror number 6. There is a juror who seems to be vibing too much with Diddy, and they're looking to have him removed. Excuse me. So this trial has definitely been, I want to say entertaining, because it has been entertaining, just, you know, watching all these people that I'm so thankful have been breaking everything down, and since they have no video, no audio, no nothing. But it's been frightening too. It's been entertaining, but it's been frightening because it's all this movie-like behavior. Like, oh, it's so... I have this phrase that I've been saying for the past couple years. For the past couple years, nothing shocks me. And whenever I start feeling like I'm getting a little too comfortable around people, or, you know, like I'm getting like my spidey senses tingling, like something ain't right, I don't know, I remind myself by saying, serial killers exist. That's what I tell myself. You cannot underestimate anyone. Serial killers exist. That's not pretend shit. That's not creative shit, you know, like movie shit. That's not... Ted Bundy was Ted Bundy before you saw Zac Efron play Ted Bundy. You feel me? Serial killers exist. So this is just a reminder of that when I'm hearing all these things that Diddy did, and, you know, hearing about how he's acting at the courthouse. Very charismatic, always pulling out the chair for his lawyers. Just being Diddy, you know? Being fake and dangerous. My least favorite type of person. So, yeah, it's been a lot. But I think I told you my favorite parts. Like I said, I'm going to try to link those people that I follow who have been keeping up. If you choose one, damn, I wouldn't just choose one. But I will say that Armand Wiggins, he reads the entire transcript and role plays it. He's like, so then Diddy slapped Cassie. He be mad extra with it, and it's very entertaining. And I don't agree with some of the stuff he says sometimes, but I do think that he is relatively objective and fair in what he does share, and it is his opinion. He's entertaining and he does the work, and he deserves all the success that he's getting. Lately, he's been on TMZ. He's been doing interviews. I think he's going to be on... Well, at this point, when I released this podcast, he was on Power 105 yesterday on Angela Yee's morning show. So, yeah, he's doing big things, and it's well-deserved because his content is very entertaining and very informative and very accurate. And, yeah, so if you just don't want to spread yourself too thin like I do, I watch all this stuff while I'm working, kind of like play it in the background or whatever, so... It ain't nothing to me. It's regular. I love YouTube content more than I like anything on Netflix or Hulu, so it's just like, you know, my vibe. I like real stuff, you know, like when I watch stuff, it's typically, if it's not YouTube content, it's like a documentary. I don't like reading nonfiction books for the most part. I don't like the fucking, what is this, something of Narnia, Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings. I never seen none of those movies. Like, that whole fantasy thing just doesn't really do it for me, which is crazy because I'm a Pisces. And I'm not just a Pisces, but I'm like a spiritual, like, Pisces. I have things like this This is my spell book. This is the Book of Shadows, aka my rhyme book. Shout out Dirty Needles. That was actually some gifted to me from my tip jar. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I'm very grounded in a lot of ways, even though I'm super goofy and I'm super sarcastic and I say shit like I mean it even when I don't mean it. You know, that's just my face kind of thing. Like I'm serious maybe 7% of the time. Like most of the time I'm joking. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But with all that, I don't know. I like real stuff. I like putting real stuff and storing real stuff into my memory bank, I guess. But I also see the appeal of escapism in you know, those types of fantasy entertainment things, you know, whether it be books or movies or whatnot. Like, I get it. And I do watch things that are not necessarily real. I watch like the series You on Netflix. But I mean, it's very realistic. And like I said, serial killers exist and he's a serial killer. Technically, he killed a lot of people. He's a serial killer, right? So, yeah. I like stuff that is real or based on real stuff, I guess you could say. And that's why this trial is very intriguing to me, has been very entertaining to me, has been keeping my attention for sure. Another thing that has been getting a lot of my attention is politics lately, which when I started this season of the pod, which is no more seasons, I keep saying it. I was talking a lot in the first couple episodes because Trump had got inaugurated and whatnot, but now I live in LA, for anybody who's new here and doesn't know. I live in LA and we got some ICE protests going on, which have spread now. You know, they're doing them in New York and other cities across the country, but they started here because they were peaceful, and then the government made it not so peaceful. And I'm going to be out there. This episode is dropping on Saturday, so I'm out there right now. I'm outside. We outside with it. You know, I hope I made a nice sign. Since this is like future me talking about past me, DAPHYA, make a nice sign, okay? It don't matter how nice the fucking sign is. It's all about the message. It's all about just showing up and just showing the power in numbers. And, you know, I recently heard that women and children are actually getting kidnapped by assholes because bad people thrive in chaos. They take advantage of the chaos. So apparently women and children are getting kidnapped by people pretending to be ICE agents, which is not difficult to do when you consider they don't have uniforms. They cover their faces with masks. And they have no due process. They don't give you any due process. There's no legality to it. They're kidnapping people the way actual ICE is just kidnapping people. Essentially. And it's not okay. And it's nothing but a numbers game to Trump, which most things are. But I won't delve too far into that. I should mention there was I forgot his name though, and I don't want to turn on my phone so y'all hear the sound. I believe he was a senator. Oh man, his name is on the tip of my tongue too, but I just can't remember it. But he went to a public, you know, like council meeting thing, and the president was there, and he asked a question. Apparently he didn't do it the way they liked it, and he got carried off, and he stated who he was, and they still persisted to handcuff him. And apparently he didn't get fully arrested, but they had him on his knees, laying down flat on his belly to the ground in handcuffs. An elected official. It's getting nasty outside. It's getting really, really bad. And the worst part is that most people don't care. I have an Instagram channel. I share as much as I can. But when I touch on these topics, it gets really quiet. And I understand why. I can't pretend like I don't understand why. But it's still sad. It's sad because silence is essentially complacency. You know, it's they say if you're not with us, you against us type beat. And that's what it feels like. But luckily I also know a lot of great people, you know, that have been outside, that will be outside with me today, and that believe that all people matter. Oh damn, I didn't want to get serious. Here I am again. I was trying to keep it light. I really care about this shit though. I really care about humans, you know, and I don't have a horse in the race, in the sense that I have no children. Fuck the future. I ain't got no kids. Once I'm out of here, I'm out. I don't gotta care about nothing. But I do. I genuinely, sincerely do. And I would love to say, even if I couldn't care, I wouldn't, you know, like, but no, I care and I want to care and I care and I'm gonna care and I'm gonna do what I can. You know, I gotta take care of me, obviously. If you don't know, I have multiple sclerosis. I can't be getting too stressed out. That shit affects me physically, you know. So I'm going to do what I can and I'm going to take it in stride. I take, honestly, everything with stride for the most part, though. Like, I think, you know what's funny? Uh, I'm generally like a happy person, but I feel like because I care about these serious topics, sometimes it can come across as me being pressed, you know, on my social media because I comment on these things, because I care about these things, because I'm active in these conversations. But I'm a happy person. Whereas I feel like most people be super pressed and they hide everything and just put this fake facade online where it's just all rainbows and, oh, I should have wore that shirt. Oh, this is also off my DAPHY'S shop. This from my shop. This part of the Smoke Flower collection. You feel me? DAPHY.com. But I have a shirt that says it's not only rainbows and butterflies, because you know the Maroon 5 song, it's compromise. Well, I feel like that. I feel like nothing is ever gonna be perfect. Nothing is ever gonna be, you know, all good all the time. But that's the portrait that people like to paint on their social medias, whether it be because they feel their Instagram is a resume, or they feel their Instagram is a highlight reel, or they just want to make people jealous, whatever the case may be. But I'm human. I don't portray myself as anything but human, the good, bad, the ugly, flaws, all that. So I can't expect me out of everybody else. That's just me. I'm gonna continue to be me. And the greatest thing about social media is that that's your real estate. That's your little spot there that you're renting. You don't own it. You're renting it. Mark Zuckerberg owns it. But you're renting it there, and you can do whatever you want there. That's your domain, you know? And people can come and go as they please. In my own Instagram channel, I openly tell people, hey, you can go whenever you want. You don't have to stay here. You don't. As far as I'm concerned, when people leave my channel, I feel like that is the right thing. It's alignment. You're not supposed to be here. You're not getting my messages. You don't agree with what I'm saying. Whatever the case may be, you need to find your peace, because what I'm saying is triggering to you. Leave. I don't want you to feel bad. That's not what it's about. So that's how I'm moving as far as this political stuff goes. A lot of my artist friends out here in LA, like, you know, put it into the art, and I want to, but I haven't gotten there yet. I will. I know that I will. I've put out a couple verses where I do address the certain political things going on, but like to do a whole political piece, I feel like that'll really, I gotta hone in, and I would really want to get it right. Especially shout out Immortal Technique. I know you listening, but that was probably one of the most political rappers that like I heard as a child. One of the only, to be honest, but he's still out here doing it. And I don't think I'll ever do it like him, but I can definitely learn from what he's done as far as putting it into the artistry. Also, if you're new here, I rap. If you couldn't tell by my voice. If you couldn't tell, I'll be rapping. But yeah, I think that's a good place to end right now. This is the longest episode of the third pod, I think, since I've been back with no seasons. This is episode 92 of the third pod. Once again, I'm your host, DAPHYA, DAPHYA.com. I have a lot of different motivational clothing items there. That's my main gig now. I also songwrite. I was an artist, singer, songwriter, rapper, blah, blah, blah. You could Google DAPHYA or go to DAPHYA.com if you want to check me out. But this has been episode 92 of the third pod. So I just want to say thank you for listening. I appreciate everybody who watches this. I know my views went super low because I took that fucking hiatus. But hopefully I get y'all back because I'm back. We here. You feel me? And remember, I'm the voice you can trust. One, two.